My battery died on that one, so yeah. Ichi the Killer. Super cool. Next up. Next up, another bootleg. I got a lot of boots in here, I noticed. Bootleg copy of The Babysitter. Was a massive fan of Samara Weaving after this, of course. She's just fantastic in this movie. Killer Queen was pretty good too. The sequel they did was really not bad. The Human Centipede trilogy. What can you say about Human Centipede? I love those movies. I still need to give number 3 another watch. I really liked 1 and 2 was probably my favorite. Chronicle, in my opinion, this is kind of a horror movie, I must say. In my opinion, I loved Chronicle. What did the director of this did something recently? I can't remember. The original Purge. This was another one from the Ronin Flick sale that I got for like, I don't know, it was like $7 or $8. The Beast from like, what is it, 1979 or late 70s, early 80s. French movie. Heard it's good, haven't seen it, look forward to it. One of my all-time faves, R.I.P. Anton Yelchin, Green Room. This movie is just brutal. This is just a brutal, brutal movie about these kids who are on tour in this punk band. They take this gig to try to make some extra money and they witness something that they really shouldn't. It just gets batshit. It's so brutal. Definitely check out him and his other work. Jeremy Saulnier's work is awesome. Lee Winnell's Upgrade. This movie is phenomenal. If you haven't seen Upgrade, check it out. It's awesome. This guy who gets injured and he gets like genetically modified and turns into this badass like fighter with some horror elements. Good gore, great fight scenes. This guy's like the poor man's Tom Hardy in here, but he's fucking great. He was also in The Guest. The Basket Case trilogy. So I have the trilogy here because I have the 2 and 3 in this one as well as the original. The 2 and 3 are just insane. They're more comedies than anything, but what's great about these movies is the practical creature effects, especially in 2 and 3, where there's way more of these like freaks, like Belial. It's just phenomenal. These movies are, God, I love Frank Henenlotter. He is so amazing. I hope he cranks out something else. He did his latest movie, I think, was one called Bad Biology. It's this really sexual, weird movie. It's actually really good, but Frank Henenlotter, man, what a legend. The Belko Experiment, The Office meets Battle Royale. It is a great movie, fun little movie. Frank Henenlotter's Frankenhooker. There's a movie on Shudder called Patchwork that's really similar to Reanimator and Frankenhooker. It pays homage to those movies. Check out Patchwork on Shudder. It's great. I had a lot of fun watching that movie. I just watched it a few days ago. Next, The Steelbook of Jennifer's Body. I unapologetically love Jennifer's Body. Ever since the first time I saw that movie when it came out, I just fucking loved it. Megan Fox is like the hottest she ever looked. The movie is just so good. I know the dialogue kind of bugs some people, but really ahead of its time, and now it's finally gaining a little bit of cult status. The Quiet Place. I only saw this movie once in the theaters and once when I bought it. I really need to revisit this one in anticipation of the second one. Oculus from Mike Flanagan. I believe this was his debut movie. Great little horror movie. Low budget. Of course, he also went on to do The Haunting of Hill House and Dr. Sleep in The Haunting of Bly Manor coming up, but this movie is awesome. You don't hear a lot of people talk about it. Definitely check this one out. Scream Factory double feature of High Spirits and the batshit crazy Vampire's Kiss. Notoriously one of the most insane Nick Cage freakouts. I never misspelled anything. Not ever, not once. So good. And the famous meme where he's opening his eyes real wide comes from this movie. High Spirits is actually another great movie with Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks. This movie, I originally bought this because of High Spirits. I saw High Spirits so long ago when I was a kid. And I remembered this scene when they're on like a stage, but it looks like a boat or something. And there was just a couple scenes that stuck out in my brain. And for years, like 20 years, I could not figure this movie out. It was the same thing with Lady in White. And The Gate, actually, where I discovered later after seeing them when I was just a small kid, and then it took me forever to pin down some of these movies. Lady in White and then High Spirits being one of them. But High Spirits is such a fun movie. Zombeavers, an Italian release of Zombeavers. Zombie Beavers, what more can you say? I love this movie. Another animal zombie movie that's really good is Black Sheep, the New Zealand horror comedy Black Sheep. If you haven't seen Black Sheep, definitely check that out. It's a super fun zombie movie where you have zombie sheep. Critters collection from Scream Factory. Gotta love Critters. I'm glad I was able to pick that up. It Follows, Steelbook. Classic movie. Love that movie. I love that actress, the lead actress in that movie. She's in that Quibi series, which is probably one of the only reasons to get Quibi. The Stranger, I think it's called, where she plays like a rideshare driver, and Dean Dahan becomes one of her passengers, and it's super creepy. The Sharknado collection, Sharknado 1 through 6 in a steelbook. I own that for some reason. The Lodge, loved The Lodge. This movie took me on a crazy ride. I loved every minute of it. You get a brief appearance by Alicia Silverstone. Riley Keough, she is so phenomenal. She's also in The House That Jack Built. She has a really gnarly appearance in that, and I feel, God, she gets... Watch that movie, but she's great in this. What a good movie. Very depressing, but definitely takes some turns, and it doesn't go where you're expecting it to go. It really doesn't. This is an interesting movie. Joe Bigos, the guy who did VFW. I ended up getting this from Eureka. Eureka puts out some really nice editions of their movie. They really remind me of Arrow Video. They have really similar slipcovers and collector's editions, but this is a kind of vampire. It's described as a vampire movie, but kind of goes outside of the vampire mythos, but it's just a neon-drenched, low budget. It's shot on 16mm film. It looks beautiful. It's so bloody. The lead actress is phenomenal. She's gorgeous in the movie. I sound like such a perv when I say this, but she's naked for about 30% of the movie, and she just looks great. But it's so much more than just her. It's just a great movie. Joe Bigos, we're going to see big things from this guy. He does phenomenal work. With a really unique voice and look to his films. Look out for his stuff. He has one more movie before Bliss and VFW. I can't remember. Let me know in the comments if you've seen it. I can't remember the title, but this guy's stuff is awesome. 4K edition of John Carpenter's Halloween, which I actually watched for the first time a couple years ago when this came out. It's a pretty good movie. I guess I should have watched it before. Love it. Great movie. And I watched it again about 2 weeks ago. And this is now like the second or third time I've seen it. I like it more and more each time I watch it. It does have something about it, doesn't it? I know, I get it. Like, I'm a horror fan, and I'm just now seeing Halloween. You can't see every movie. It was a little before my time. And the first time I watched it, honestly, I was like, okay, that was okay. And then I watched it again and again, and there is something special about this movie. Piranha 2. This is another 88 films, limited edition. Great movie. This, of course, was directed by James Cameron, who did, everything. Now he's the Avatar guy, but Piranha 2, The Spawning. Next up, the Tiny Tim classic. Look up Tiny Tim singing Tiptoeing Through the Tulips. And then look up Blood Harvest. He's the star of this movie. He actually died on stage. It's really crazy. Look into Tiny Tim. Again, Vinegar Syndrome with the best slipcovers in the game over Arrow, over Scream Factory. My opinion, best slipcovers in the game. I was just talking about this, Lady in White. Great movie starring Lucas Haas. A great intro horror movie. Fantastic movie. I remember seeing this on daytime TV when I was a kid. Scared the shit out of me. Watch this movie. It's great. I have the digibook of Poltergeist. I can't remember. Did this get a 4K release? I can't remember. But I love these true digibooks. They're so cool. I have one for Falling Down as well and a couple other titles. But I love this. I'm kicking myself in the ass. I had 2 and 3 with slipcover from Scream Factory, and for some reason I sold them. I'm an idiot. Next up, American Psycho 2. I don't care what you say. This is a fantastic movie. I think it was a script on its own that wasn't involved with American Psycho, and they just kind of slapped a couple plot points in there and turned it into an American Psycho movie, but it's still a lot of fun. Snatchers, which was actually based on a web series, and they went back and used most of that footage from the web series, added some new footage, made it a feature-length film. It's about a girl who gets pregnant with a demon alien baby. She has she gets pregnant, and then the next day she's huge and 9 months pregnant. It's so much fun. Great little horror comedy. I loved it. From Warner Archive Collection, Night School. This is actually a blind buy. I have not watched this one yet. I need to watch that one. Wolf. James Spader, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jack Nicholson. This movie's so much fun. If you haven't seen Wolf, check it out. It's fantastic. I definitely recommend Wolf. The Girl with All the Gifts. I've only watched this movie one time. It I need to give it another watch. It didn't stand out a lot for me upon first viewing, but maybe it will on another one. American Werewolf in London. This was the first restoration that they got, just the Universal release before it got the Arrow treatment. I still need to get the Arrow release of this. I think it's out of print with the special edition, but great movie. Blue Underground's release of Maniac Cop 2. Revenge. Oh, this movie is so good. If you haven't seen Revenge, check this out. It is a brutal revenge flick. It starts out with this guy who takes his girl to do some this guy takes his girlfriend with him to do some kind of dealings with some businessmen, and then some things go down and it turns into a revenge flick. It is so brutal to watch, and the chick is super hot. Another edition of Jennifer's Body. We Summon the Darkness, the Alexandre Daddario and what's his face, Johnny Knoxville movie. Give this movie a shot, man. This movie was a lot of fun. Alexandra Daddario is gorgeous, and she's gorgeous in this, but it's a really fun movie. I was a lot better than I had expected. Definitely check out We Summon the Darkness. Time to go grab another stack. Couple more to go. Last couple stacks here. First up, a couple VHS releases. We have The Woman on VHS and Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich. These come from Witter Entertainment, and they put out a bunch of really cool VHS in the kind of the cool clamshell cases. It's an actual VHS tape. These things are so cool. Look at, go to Witter Entertainment, WITTER.com, and check out their VHS releases, because they have a bunch of cool stuff. I think they put out an Intruder VHS release, but yeah, BrokeHorrorFan.com presents The Woman and Puppet Master Littlest Reich on VHS, and they do have more titles. Check those out. It's so cool. Jordan Peele's Get Out. Suspiria, the remake. I love this movie. It's super controversial. I think it's way better than the original. Of course, I didn't grow up with the original, so I understand if that's blasphemy and people are like, fuck you, I get it. I thought this movie was amazing, and if there are people out here who just flat out refuse to watch this movie, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's a fantastic movie. It's extremely well made. The ending of this movie, okay, I promise you, the last 20 minutes of this movie are some of the most batshit, insane, disgusting, amazing shit that you have ever seen in a horror movie. I guarantee it. And the scene where the dancing scene in the dance room, like, man, come on. Give that movie a chance. The Vinegar Syndrome Amityville 4 movie. This is the Cursed Objects. The Cursed Objects set. Amityville 1992, It's About Time. Amityville A New Generation. Amityville Dollhouse. And Amityville The Evil Escapes. I've watched one of them so far. They're super fun. I don't remember all of them. I remember seeing A New Generation, and I watched the one about the clock. And it was just a lot of fun, and it's just a beautiful box set from Vinegar Syndrome. Their stuff is so amazing. God, I love their releases. The Scream Factory edition of Creepshow, another classic anthology. I love this movie, and the edition is so cool. I'm not sure if this one's out of print or if it's still good to go or not. I know it was limited. Terminator with the slip case, and then I got a red case on it. I don't care what anybody says. This is a slasher movie. I love it. It's a horror movie. Don't Breathe from Fede Alvarez, and he of course did the 2013 Evil Dead remake, which is one of my favorite remakes ever made. The old baby version of Friday the 13th, the collection of course, coming out in just a couple short weeks, is the Scream Factory box set. I cannot wait. I know every horror fan is just, oh my god, just anxiously waiting to get their set. I saw just a day or two ago they posted a pallet of the actual box sets in the warehouse. I just cannot wait for that. Another Vinegar Syndrome release here. Psycho Cop. Great movie from the director Adam Rifkin. He did The Chase, another movie that I used to watch so much back in the day with Christy Swanson and Charlie Sheen. And he also did a movie called The Dark Backwards, which is a super weird movie with Judd Nelson and Bill Paxton. He's done some cool stuff, but Psycho Cop is great too. The Intruder. This is a great slasher movie that takes place in a grocery store. I love this movie. Frank Henenlotter's Bad Biology. So the guy that did Brain Damage and Frankenhooker and Basket Case. This was his most recent movie. This guy has like a monster cock that eats people. There's a one chick that has this like insatiable sex appetite, and he didn't have quite the budget that he had with some of his other stuff, but it's definitely worth a watch. Check that one out. The lenticular slipcover of Jack Frost. I love this movie so much. It's so ridiculous. If you watch the special features and the commentary, they talk about how when they shot this movie, it was actually like in the middle of summer, so they try to make it look like winter. So when you go in watching that movie knowing they shot it in summer, it just, you can really tell that it's not wintertime. So funny. Arachnophobia, John Goodman, Jeff Daniels, the horror movie about killer spiders. It's fantastic. This is a little older one. If you haven't seen this one, check out Arachnophobia. It's so much fun. Birdemic, Shock and Terror. This is another one of those like The Room So Bad It's Good horror movies about killer birds. It looks like they just use clip art from like Microsoft Paint or something to do the special effects. It's so much fun. Oh my God, I love this movie. Watch Birdemic. I think they've done a couple sequels at this point. Evil Ed, the Arrow release of Evil Ed, fantastic movie. Another Arrow or Vinegar Syndrome release of The Spookies with the slipcover, another just amazing. I'm kind of far away from the camera, sorry about that, guys. The cover art on this is just amazing. I absolutely love this artwork. This movie has an interesting story behind it. Look up the story behind Spookies. They had a little tough time making that movie. Death Becomes Her. Like I said, this is one of those movies that kind of straddles the line of horror and comedy, but it's so strange that it just, without the horror elements, you don't have a movie. It's a horror movie. About Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep in the weirdest roles they've ever played, in a completely out-of-character performance from Bruce... you guys are like probably losing your mind. Bruce... I've been in front of this camera. Are you fucking... Bruce Willis! What the fuck? From Robert Zemeckis. Watch Death Becomes Her. It's so strange. Basically, Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep are actresses, and they take this Live Forever serum, and it makes them live forever, from Isabella Rossellini, but they kind of start to deteriorate a little bit. It's insane. Then we got Creep 1 and Creep 2 from Mark Duplass. They're found footage film. Even if you're not a found footage fan, these movies are so phenomenal. Mark Duplass is so creepy and perfect in these movies, and hopefully they're working on a third one apparently. And next up is my Arrow release. I still have my Scarlet box in the plastic. I have not opened it yet, so I have not seen these restorations. This year I am going to open the Scarlet box. I have to watch these movies. Number 3 is probably my favorite, controversial opinion. Next up is a 10 movie collection that I got from the Dollar Tree. They were probably all terrible, but they were $1. Full Eclipse, the like werewolf bullshit Mario Van Peebles movie. I got that off eBay a while back. Subspecies, the complete series on DVD. You can get this on Blu-ray. I think the Blu-ray's out of print, maybe. But I love these movies. These are super unique vampire movies. They're all like micro-budget movies, but they're so much fun. Anton Yelchin and Alexandria Daddario in a Joe Dante film. It's about a guy who has this really shitty girlfriend. The dude has a crush on this super cool like record store like manic pixie dream girl, Alexandria Daddario. His girlfriend dies, so he starts dating Daddario, and then his girlfriend comes back to life and kind of takes him back and like makes his life hell. Tales from the Dark Side, complete series. The Last Supper. Guys, look this movie up. This is a Korean horror film. It's super crazy, and it has some of the most insane practical effects you've ever seen. This movie is so weird. It's a lot of body horror and cannibal stuff in it, but check this out. It's so weird. Leprechaun 7 film collection. Sorry, I own that. They're pretty fun. This limited copy, 50,000 copy edition of Bad Taste. Peter Jackson keeps saying that he's going to release like all of his older films with new restorations. He made that documentary where he restored a bunch of old World War II footage, and he says he ran some of his older films through that restoration, and it looks amazing. So hopefully we'll get a Bad Taste, Dead Alive, all those in remake. in remaster. Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice, my favorite in the series. I love this movie. Ricky O, the story of Ricky, one of the most batshit insane horror kung fu movies you've ever seen. There's a scene in this movie where a guy literally cuts his own stomach and chokes somebody out with his intestines. Ricky O is amazing. Splatter, Naked Blood, where they're an experimental birth control pill makes pain feel orgasmic. People start taking it and they start self-harming themselves because pain feels like an orgasm after taking this pill. So it's just a series of insane self-mutilation and like self-torture. It's just insane. I used to be into a lot of these extreme horror movies like the Guinea Pig series and Necromantic and Men Behind the Sun, Untold Story, all those like infamous movies. I don't watch them so much anymore, but I used to be super into them. Carnosaur, double feature, 1 and 2. Great movies. Roger Corman's a badass. Is that it? Woo! That is it. Man, I am tired. Guys, thank you so much for checking out my collection video. There is so much more to come. I know this week I have my top 10 opening title sequence video coming out. Later in the month, I have a top 10 Descent into Madness horror film, my movie nights, top 10 horror podcast. So much good stuff coming up. Posting a video every single day in October. And also, there's gonna be more giveaways. Like I said, I'm gonna be giving away this copy of Dolly Dearest, as well as more Blu-rays and digital codes, all kinds of good stuff. So thanks for your support. I really appreciate it. My name is Justin. This is Movie Watch. That's all I got for you today. Stay weird, and until next time, bye.
I love movies. Gosh, I love movies. I love watching them, and I love making them.
Ha 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 ha!